Welcome back to another TBC Classic video. This one's going to be a little different to my usual content. Blizzard have revealed a new survey regarding WoW Classic and Fresh servers, specifically asking about changes and how likely or happy we would be as players with those changes. Usually, I turn on the camera, read the article, and give my thoughts and opinions on the matter to open up the discussion with you guys in the comments section. In this video, I'm going to be doing that, but with a few friends and fellow Classic WoW players to give our initial reactions and thoughts on the changes contained in the survey. Links to the article are in the description and comments if you'd rather read that if the video isn't for you. But before you go, please drop a thumbs down so I know you weren't interested in this format. If you are sticking around, please leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on some of the changes and suggestions that are in the survey. With that said, let's get to it and have a good day. Alright boys, I'm going to ask you some questions. I want to hear your reactions and your thoughts on this, yeah? Summoning stones at dungeon entrances.
Yeah, they should be there.
I think that's okay.
Still wouldn't make me want to play it.
More difficult raid bosses and dungeon encounters, so they're going to tweak the difficulty.
Yeah, I like that.
That'd be good, yeah.
Increase debuff limit on raid bosses, so instead of us being caps and you can't have like a serpent's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
More damage, take away the debuff thing as well.
Alright, barbershop. Change your hair, your face, all that shit.
It doesn't cost you any, like, it's not, yeah, it's cosmetic, but you're using game gold to do it, right? As long as it stays that way.
It's like, it doesn't bother me what happens with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Faster XP rates to level.
Yes.
Massively, yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm not bothered. In a way, yes, but then it's more reason to create an old. I don't want to.
Fair. I don't want to play olds, man.
That's the only way you'd get me back, I think, Classic, by the way. Just as a side note.
What is if it was easier to level?
If it was, so you actually create more, yeah. I guess so, yeah.
Okay, so on a fresh realm, you want it easier to get to cap.
Yeah.
Okay. No world buffs in raids.
Yeah.
Get rid of world buffs.
As much as world buffs were AIDS to get, I think it's one of the only things that actually encompass any sort of community in the game.
Yeah, or easier to get world buffs, or like it doesn't drop down when you're in.
Yeah, like
or something like that.
On a timer would be great.
Okay, so I mean, I've got another page to go to with it. I think maybe a couple more questions. So I don't know if this is there, but if they had world buffs with Chrono Boomer or Chrono whatever it is,
but they brought that in way too late.
Yeah, but so if they had it in this and they had world buffs, would that be a good compromise for the boys who are saying no world buffs, or would you still rather like nah?
People that don't have a job, it needs to be set times through the day. You know when to log in and when to log out. Not like it could be random and then it's like it just for people that are on all day it's fine, but for someone at work it's like you get in between 6 and set your raiding at 7. You've got an hour and it's it doesn't drop. Your damage is shit.
Yeah, okay.
You need to have a set time.
Cool, alright. The next page. Okay, so overall, how much would you like or dislike the following changes you may potentially see on a Classic Fresh Start realm? So these are changes that they are definitely fucking considering because they're saying you might see them. So faster XP rates to level, you're saying you like that.
Yep.
Barbershop is like neither like or dislike. No world buffs in raids, we're saying...
We like the world buffs, but we want it.
It needs to be different. Okay. Increased debuff limit on raid bosses is 100% unanimous. Black market auction house for vanity items.
That's quite cool. Yeah.
Cool. Wouldn't bother me either way.
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me.
So that's like in retail where you can buy the black market auction house box and you might get Spectral Tiger.
Yeah, that's cool.
No.
I think that's a problem if you can buy gold from Blizzard.
Well, they'll implement WoW tokens in that, mate. 100%.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, but for them anyway.
It's not as long as it's not a pay to win. Like a mount to me
isn't pay to win.
Win mechanic. If it's getting gear and stuff that's just random, then no. But
so because it specifies as vanity items, it's not that bad then.
Yeah, because if people are actually buying gold or using gold to buy a potential chance, might as well just run the dungeon. It's up to them if they want to splash their money. It's no benefit.
Okay, fair enough. I kind of agree with that, yeah. Here's one. Original Alterac Valley design, so more guards, slower matches, and additional quests.
Yes.
Yes, yes to old AV.
Bro, old AV was sick, man.
Oh,
It's one of
your
ones.
choice to go in it.
It makes the fucking grind to Exalted long. Yeah, it does. But bro, I was fucking Exalted AV after the second day.
yes. Oh my god, do you remember? Bro, if we were all online just constantly fucking whamming AV, and it meant nothing. It was just the easier way for me to get a mount, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason why I did it. To get him out.
Mount and a weapon, like from the first match. So yeah, more difficult raid bosses and dungeon encounters. You're saying yeah? Oh, this is a spicy one. Oh, okay, 2 spicy ones and then a shit one. So increased rate of item drops.
Yes.
I think it makes it easier if you've got ults, and that goes in tandem with faster XP. If you're going to do faster XP, you might as well do increased drops.
Okay, and then
By increased drops, do you mean that more loot is dropped by the boss in one run, or something that was 1% drop rate is actually now going to be like a 10% drop rate?
I think it's going to be that. I think it'll be 1 to 10 instead of more items drop. I think it'll just be items drop more often.
Then that's no issue at all. As long as the boss, every item's going to go up, so it's almost going to have the same
Effect,
percentage. Yeah, you're still going to get the other items more, but it will pop up more often. But it saves like Bill having to spend 7 years in bloody
Trying to get DFT.
trying to get freaking one item to make your character work.
Yeah, that's true. Earn gold at faster rates.
Again, that's just the economy. If everyone's able to buy gold, then yes, it makes sense to be able to just earn more, because then you keep up with the market. But the market's going to be what it is. So as long as if everyone's earning more gold quicker, it just means the prices are going to be slightly higher.
Yeah, for me, that's a definite no, because like historically, Blizzard have never ever taken a hand in the way that the economy works to like a big degree. They kind of let it live.
That's about that one as well, man.
I prefer things cheaper, so money actually means something.
Yeah. And then finally was the summoning stones at the dungeon entrance, and you guys are saying you don't mind that.
Yeah, that's calm.
That's a good quality of life change.
It's a good quality of life change, but it does mean that you'll see less people out in the world traveling. I don't know how much.
Possibly.
You think now how many people you see in the world. I know the server's pretty dense, but you've always seen people at certain gathering points and getting there. You still got to get 2 people who've got to go there.
Yeah, and I think if this is vanilla classic fresh, I think that's a good compromise for quality of life for people who people aren't going to play that long term, but for the people that are, not having to spend half an hour getting somewhere is just a nice thing for them, instead of like, this is my favorite game and it's fucking long to play, even though no one's playing it.
The only thing it kind of does affect though is the usefulness of the warlock in a group.
It does.
Classic, yeah.
It does affect their.
Oh yeah, it's just create a group. Can you just summon me to this zone because I need a quest over there? As opposed, like people will be standing next to summoning stones, saying, putting in.
That's a good point.
Anyone need a freaking summon to this place, and it's a way for everyone to make gold.
That is a good point.
Well, it stops people fucking they're selling summon meta. That's for sure.
Look, it kind of the thing is though, the whole point of a mage is the fact that they can offer a service that no one else can. The warlock can offer a service that no one else can, whereas if you get summoning stones, it's just, is only 2 people near. You'll just whisper people in errands and just say, could you go to the way caverns and summon me please?
Yeah, it kind of messes with the actual appeal of the class and like their uniqueness.
Yeah, apart from summoning to dungeons, the only time a warlock summons is useful is fucking for the Chromagus pool in Blackwing Lair. That's about it, really.
Yeah, I think, hey, mate, what a good point. It's quite useful there.
In terms of summons, at least, anyway.
Yeah. Interesting. That kind of
breaking though. Losing one little ability, which is pretty niche anyway, so you're not used often. I think most people would be quite happy with that.
Yeah.
Don't know whether a warlock would be more disappointed than everyone. I definitely would be more disappointed than everyone else. Like as a shaman, I couldn't give a shite. I'd prefer to be able to summon people.
All right. So what about this? So for classic fresh start realms, we're considering accelerating the cadence of new phase releases and making some changes to allow players to keep up. With cadence, which cadence would you prefer the most for a WoW Classic fresh start realm? So we got same as original Classic from 2019, so 21-22 months, the same that we've already done. Accelerated, so it's over 12 months, so a year long with a new fresh start realm restarting every year as well. So you have a year to finish everything, and then you can go again. Or
it's too little.
Or 6 months and a new realm every 6 months. So 6 months, bang the lot. 6 months would be like what, a new phase every 2 months.
Yeah, but that's almost like saying the drops are going to drop every time. You only have to do like one run of MC and you've got all the gear.
And you've got yeah.
It needs to be longer.
It needs to be longer than that, yeah.
So you reckon 12 months? But they're saying that you could say other as well. Would you guys say like maybe a year and a half instead of 2?
Yeah, I guess. The thing is, you don't want to. Most people don't want to lose their character. You don't want to put a load of effort in and then feel like, oh, we're just starting from new every year. It's almost like, what's the point of playing it?
Yeah.
It's not the actual draw of the game as such that's going to bring you to it. It's actually the enjoyment of leveling and creating something that you kind of attach to.
You keep, yeah.
Right.
I assume though that what they can make it is that we've got like the classic era realm now, and when they booted up a new fresh start realm, your character would then move to the forever realm. It's not in this post, but if they did it that way, that wouldn't make it too bad. If it was like a new start every year.
Yeah, I suppose if they created like one new realm every 6 months, just with completely fresh, you had the choice to stay on your current realm or move to a new one, like as in to create a new character. It's up to you then.
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of like being done and then start again. It's a bit like the seasons on freaking Diablo.
Right, and that's what in the article here it says, is Blizzard exploring the ideas for Classic Fresh, and could the possibility of seasons ever become a thing for Classic WoW? That's worrying because we know from Financial Quarter reports that they've outright said they want to do what they've done with COD for all of their IP. They want seasons, they want microtransactions, they want engagement, they want
You would have to, like, if you're starting from fresh every time, you need the new gear. It's almost like, how do you score it? Is it via what dungeons you do? At least in Diablo, you've got a direct rank where you are.
Yeah.
The way the tiers go, unless they put in multiple, so like you have a level 1 raid, level 2, and then like level 15. So just like you're doing the same dungeons, but you're increasing once your gear gets better, but the actual drops that drop get slightly more stats. So you go up the ranks. You could see that. You might get level 10 Molten Core, and then level 5 Black Wing Lair. Or something. It's like you build your roster and gear.
Yeah, it gets quite. Yeah.
But,
I tell you what.
I don't know.
As interesting as this sounds, I think with the way that they've kind of fumbled Classic to begin with, and then like Dave just said, they fucking put the Chromie Boom thingy, discombobulator, they put the world buff thing in at the end after the game's over. Like that's a bit of a dick move.
Yeah. Right.
And then
that was honestly the best thing that happened to that game, and they did it
too late.
2 months after Nax was out and everyone was clearing it, and it's just like, well, hello?
Come on.
Like, we asked for this shit months ago.
And we've seen in interviews as well, Nano, one of the head guys from the NOS team, Nostarius private server team, he told them. He told them at a day dot, like in the meeting when they got brought to Blizz HQ. He was like, this is going to be a problem. They didn't fucking listen to him at all. And now with like...
What we're doing.
And like now with like the unhappiness that some of the player base has with the way TBC has been executed, and now this, like, it's good that they're asking this, isn't it? Because obviously it's better for them to get a pulse instead of they make a decision and then they roll it back because of the massive backlash as usual. But if they do this wrong, I don't see why people won't just go private servers again.
Like, private servers get it right, bro.
Right, that's what I mean. Private servers fucking get it right. And they're free, and good ones aren't pay to win.
It would be nice if, instead of doing that, or like, especially with the dungeons and the raids, that they had. It's almost like the old retail now with the hero in the keystones of leveling up, going further and making the dungeon more difficult. But where they've done in TBC is which made every dungeon visitable at level 70. So like Wailing Caverns actually gets ranked up to 60.
Yeah.
So you can go back in. The Dead Mines, every lower dungeon is now 60 mobs, 60 elite. And then there's potential chance that then once you can do it and you've got the gear that's easy, you've got the best in slot, it's like you can't get any better gear. You have a way of making those dungeons harder via some sort of scaling, like a 1-15 afterwards. So that kind of then coincides with the Diablo sort of
approach,
but without ruining the concept of the game.
Mate, you might be onto something there.
Everyone wants a challenge at the end of the day, and everyone wants more gear and better gear. But once you get to a point where your gear is the best, you need something that you're actually going to enjoy. So if you're making... Yeah,
you need an end game that's going to be able to be as competitive as you are. Like...
You need it sustainable, because once you've the hardest content that you currently got, it's boring. But if that's almost never ending, then you just make it harder and harder, but then you just like, oh, this guild's done bloody 25 on tanks. It's like, that's decent. It's almost like a way of
people
saying...
are fucking crazy. That's a flex.
It is. You want. People want a way of saying this is how good the guild is, because we've managed to do this.
Mate, if someone did an act on, like, I don't know, like using your example, like 25 times the difficulty, my god, mate, I'd be like, bro, these guys are fucking insane.
They're just like the best ever.
You don't necessarily need extra gear. The gear that's here is the gear that you get, but then it's more how you can work as a unit and as a team. But obviously there's going to be a certain point where your tanks are going to get one shot.
Yeah.
It's the whole point, just making the encounters more difficult once it's been base rolled. There was hot and core towards the end. It was fun running through and trying to get good on the logs, but it was boring. It was almost like an hour and a half of wasted time just hoping some loot to drop.
Yeah, and also that feeling of when you lose your well buffs and knowing that your log run is over is like, well, I'm not passing today. Better luck next week.
Yeah.
That was a pain. That sucked.
Motivation gone.
It's gone. Yeah, completely. Like, win that yourselves, and then you start not even paying attention. You just coast.
The other thing that they definitely need to do is the classes that, like what they've got in TBC with elemental shamans, with water shield, priests with a little bit of mana regen. They need that in classic, because otherwise it makes those dead classes. And it's vanilla. It needs to be in a position where you can play every kind of class to a degree. Yeah, you'll have stronger specs, you'll have weaker specs, but it needs the classes that are clearly down, like paladins and things like that. They just need that little bit of a
there needs to be like a floor of viability across the board, and then you've got people that excel. Not some people were just shit, and some classes, not people.
Even pre-patch talents made it fucking bearable.
Sick. Yeah. I thought it was sick.
I mean, I didn't really play pre-patch, but
they need to keep low MS as well. I won't play it as long as it was before.
Yeah, that's true, man. Like the MS and the spell batching was dead.
I like the spell batching because it made me do my big burst. I can't. I like.
So just as well, like considering. So with me and my guild, we've sweated it out and we're pretty much on raid logging now, and getting ready for tier 5 if anything. And you boys aren't far off being at that point too. Let's be honest. if they actually came out with a classic fresh realm and it had, say, all the shit that you just said you do and you don't want from their offerings, and it was like, say, a year long, but you get new phases every 3 months or 2.5 months, 3 months or something, do you reckon you'd play that as well as raid log?
Yeah.
For BC?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, like, if time permitting, like, I've got less time now than I did back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, time permitting, then probably, yeah. Because I'd level a warrior again, because I fucking loved warrior in Classic.
Yeah, same. I would too.
It's the best class I've ever fucking played, mate. And I was like a die-hard warlock. I was really torn about going warlock on that. I'm so glad I didn't.
Mate, I remember you playing warlock back in the day in original vanilla, and then you actually playing your warrior for as long as you did. It was quite a shock.
Oh, mate, I loved the warrior, man. Like, they're so world buff and fucking gear dependent, but my god, when you get the fucking gear and the world buffs, they absolutely pump, mate. Like,
yeah.
Just watching all the big numbers pop up on your screen, it's just, it's just lovely.
It's beautiful. Sam, did you say that you would?
Play pro warrior, and it's awful.
And then it sucks. Sam, did you say that?
Like, oh my god, I crit 1,000.
Yeah, no, I would. Yeah, definitely.
You would play both, yeah?
Yeah. As long as it had the faster XP, so I'm not wasting loads of time actually leveling, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, definitely.
You actually didn't have to grind the gear, it was there a little bit more accessible, so it just feels like otherwise you're taking the time away from the other thing that you're wanting to do, and when you're battling between two things, when don't enjoy it. It's better that you can do one thing and then you can do something else and you're not feeling like you're not being able to do both.
Right, so it sounds like if they got the sweet spot for you as well, Huck, you would play both. Faster XP, gear more accessible, and if classes were just a little bit more balanced so that everything was somewhat viable. More viable at least than originally in Classic.
Yeah, like, I think the meme spec thing is quite sad actually. Like Elemental, Boomkin, all those guys are just, if you roll one, you'll be lucky to get a raid spot.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like, the existing meta from private servers that carried over to Classic that has now, evolved through to TBC. If everything is sped up in this way and drops some more frequent or whatever, I still don't think that's enough without class changes to make any dent in the meta. It would just be like, bro, it's easier now than ever to level a warrior. We should have 20 warriors.
Yeah. Well,
it wouldn't be like, oh man, I know, we're leveling a warrior is difficult. Like, no, you've got no excuse. It's easier than ever now. Everyone should have a warrior all ready to cycle out and DPS on. It could get worse.
So whether they could do, because TBC have got it kind of held. Like, all classes are pretty viable, barring rogues. It kind of works, and it's the talents that we've got. Whether or not they can squash the talents that everyone's got from TBC, just reduce it to 60.
You know what? I reckon that I honestly think if they had the 60, the pre-patch, so the TBC pre-patch 60 talents, I think it would be sick. I don't think it's enough to they'd have to rebalance though. They'd have to, because
they would. Yeah.
Because the specs come together with those 10 extra talent points in the new talents trees, I think. Okay, interesting. So basically, you're saying that you'd play both if they did it right.
If I didn't have to spend too much time on both, as in I felt I was competitive without having a full job as well, the time to do it. So if I felt like I could spend 4 hours, maybe on on a few days a week and actually get somewhere. Yeah, obviously I'm not expecting to be the same as someone that's going to play it all day every day. I don't want to be like massively behind because I haven't played through the day because I've actually got a job. Then it would be more beneficial, because then I could actually do a few hours on the TBC and be like, right, that's all I need to do on that, and then I can spend the rest of the time for the week on doing what I want to do with another character. It just saves creating an ult. That's pretty much all it will be. Instead of having an ult from TBC, that would be your ult, would be your classic character.
Yeah. Now the big thing that I'm worried about with this, I'm very much echoing Peo here. He said that he feels like they want to turn classic into retail. Please don't. No barbershop, no faster XP, no summon stones, no gold faster, no to world buffing raids. Like, I get what he's saying. I mean, it seems like it could very easily go the way of retail.
Oh, 100%.
And we know Blizzard historically, I mean, yeah, they'll do that. They've done it already, and they're doing it again. They're doing the same thing they did last time. They're just slowly lowering everything.
Well, they know now, because people want quality of life changes, and they probably see that, look, classic player base was probably far higher than what the TBC player base is, or whatever, and they know people will fucking go back to classic if it comes out, so they got to try and milk what they can out of it.
Yeah, in some way.
The game's done. You think putting in a barbershop and doing all these little tweaks will take fucking more than a couple of days?
What's interesting though is something that I just thought of as well is like these changes that they're asking if they can make. This doesn't seem like they would be on the classic era, which is the forever realm, where your character's copied over to before you went to BC. So, if these changes were only on the Fresh Start Classic, and then, say, at the end of this server's life, before it spins up again, you could either copy it to Classic Era, but what if you could keep it on that server and it just stays? Then
you have 3 sort of servers.
So you could leave it on the one it's on and its progression is done and you can live there and raid forever, or it can copy over to Classic Era where it might be seen to kind of have an advantage if it had faster gear drops and stuff and gold, but like I don't know how much. Obviously there's balancing and economy issues and shit like that, but like I don't know how much they're gonna care. I don't think they care. Or you start again on the new one.
And if you start having 3 or 4 different types of WoW Classic, just say 25% going to each one of them,
yeah,
player base is going to be a lot less. You're going to have to end up trying to figure out find new mates, or everyone's on a different one to say.
It'll be very fractured, and
someone else wants to play that, and it's like it takes away a bit of the potential fun.
Yeah, you fracture and fragment the player base, and also I think Blizzard, in terms of a support and development standpoint, they don't want things that are high maintenance, high investment. You'd have to have a guy for each type of classic, whereas they probably just want one bot, one AI for classic. So overall, if they did it right, you'd play a classic Fresh Start realm.
Yeah, they did it right. Yeah.
As well as playing BC Classic.
Well, yeah, until it gets to the point where you can't fucking do raids on both.
And then you drop
one or the other.
Classic doesn't have a charm about it, which probably, yeah, like if everyone was playing it, I probably would play it more than just logging in on TBC. But like, I can't go back to the stupid spell batching, things like that. Like that to me just felt so clunky, and that's what I loved in the pre-patch, was that everything all of a sudden felt, well, this is how the game should have been.
This is how it should feel, yeah.
Yeah. I should be able to fucking cast a frost over and get caught in it rather than fucking kill me, not go off.
Yeah.
Should be able to like juke you, so you use your kick and you don't interrupt me, instead of like, yeah, you got half a second to do it and I still get interrupted.
Add that kind of that skill ceiling to it.
Yeah.
Should be able to cast your next ability, the critical strike, and actually critical strike with 2 abilities instead of 1.
Like, how many times would you kill a mob and he'd still hit you before he died? The spellback change.
Yeah, in the boosts, that was fucking AIDS, man. Learning Scarlet Monster boost and they're like a mile away from you, you get fucking hit.
Yeah.
That's true. That was so horrible, man. Like the leeway.
I mean, it was great for warriors, bro. Like, mate, I used to fucking slap people with it. So.
People can't escape.
Especially the Ultra warriors. A melee leeway with a freaking extra half a yard reach.
Get you from across the map in Warsong Gulch.
Okay, here's one for you. So, new server. Do you have paladins, shamans on both sides?
Yes.
Yeah, that's clever. Oh, that is a good one. I think yes too.
I think, yeah. Mate, not having a paladin on our side sucks fucking donkey dick, and then for their side, obviously not having a shaman sucks. Like Wind Fury and the paladin buffs are so OP.
Yeah, man.
They would make raiding so much easier, or like so much. Like, especially if you're gonna do like higher difficulty stuff as well, like fucking higher difficulty raids, without having salvation and Wind Fury and shit like that, man. It's ridiculous.
Also, it would play into server faction balancing, and I think for the majority of people who wouldn't be going for cutting edge pushing on PvE, who would just pick Horde because of their like racials and whatnot, they would then be more inclined to they could live on Alliance side, they could happily make that choice. It wouldn't even come into them. They're like, oh, well, what do you want to play? Oh, fancy Alliance. Yeah, okay, we'll do Alliance this time. It wouldn't be like, oh, no, I need to make sure I've got the resist on Orc racial, otherwise, or the axes or whatever, like they wouldn't even. Yeah.
Play this. I want to play that.
You can have a cake and eat it in some way. That's a good one. Right, well.
I suppose the one flaw with that is that it takes away from faction, like what's the word for it? Like uniqueness. Identity. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the ticket, Samuel.
you go into Battleground. You want it to be relatively equal. When you've got two completely different classes that the other side haven't got, doesn't make it balanced or equal.
Yeah. For me, sorry, go on. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. I was gonna say, for me, I couldn't care less if I went into a BG and it was Horde v Horde, and we were just like one team was red and one team was blue. As long as you could identify who was on like what team. That's what you want to play, right? When you do background, you don't care as Alliance. You care if you're Alliance and you're fighting Horde. You just want to fight other people.
Yeah.
Man, that's the solution they need to implement now for BC with Horde BVP queues.
They're talking about it with the mercenary, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people aren't crying when they're in arena and they're Horde fighting Horde. So like, what does it matter?
What's the diff? What is the difference? What is the difference?
You just queue up to arena or to a battleground, and you get put on any team. So you've got Alliance players in your team.
I think what they're saying, the one thing is the reason why Horde is so heavily picked over Alliance is that our racials are far better than Alliance
for PvP.
It's just night and day. Even for PvE, troll racial is better than every racial out there.
Especially when used correctly.
Yeah, like the only good thing that Alliance have is they've got the human racial, like for swords, like the expertise or whatever. I don't think you've got any other races apart from that. I think you maybe get dwarfs with
the guns
or guns or whatever, but like
you get the rip bonus of which is useful more in TBC for human.
Exactly. So, but they're very minute. Like if you look at the Horde things in general, you got Taurens with extra 5% HP, which is quite big, especially for tanking or whatever. And then you've got Trolls with Berserking, which is again OP as fuck. So,
but then you think PvP wise, you've got a class like Rogue. I don't think their trinket isn't for fear. Then they can just go undead and they've got an instant fear trinket. as well as their other trinket, which it makes then balances out the class's weakness and makes them too good in PvP.
Well, boys, thank you for your discussion and opinion on the matter. You'll be featuring in the latest and first long format content on my shitty YouTube channel. Remember to like and subscribe.
You didn't ask my consent, mate, so I'm going to take it down.